Hey, I'm Alison David, and I am one of the matchmakers here through Midwest Matchmaking. And today I am actually going to be filling in on what I got to do this weekend, which was I had the honor of attending the wedding of one of the couples that have met through us. As you can imagine, we get a lot of wedding invites here, but this was actually the first time that I was able to attend one due to scheduling or whatever for former clients. And it was such a fun experience, and I hope to get to do it again someday soon here. If you're watching this, clients who are getting married, possibly make sure to invite me. These two have actually been together for about 8 years now. And so it was actually which is longer than what most people do before they get married. So it was really cool to kind of see how their relationship has grown over the last 8 years and to hear their loved ones get up and toast the couple and kind of talk about their relationship. And my favorite part, which is always, the best part of all the weddings, is when they say their vows and they both get so like happy and overcome with emotion and giddy as they go through that. And, some people cry. I might have teared up a little bit. But it was so fun. And hearing their love story again and being reminded of all the fun things that I had forgotten about from so many years ago got me thinking back to the start of their relationship and how they almost didn't quite work out, ended up together, and how a lot of our couples that we work with actually do need a little bit of encouragement from their matchmaker to meet each other in the first place, or even in the case of this couple, just give it one more date. So these two, I think I was working with her first. I'm trying to remember how this worked out, and it's a little hazy because it's been a while, but I know that she was actually one of my very first coaching clients. So I got to know her on a very different level because when you're doing the coaching, we have more one-on-one sessions and we talk about a lot more things in detail than you do when you're just doing just the matchmaking, which is why coaching is a great complement to your matchmaking membership. And she still, to this day, was one of the kindest, warmest, just most impressive women I've really ever had the honor of meeting. And while she was very young at the time she started dating, she was about 24, 25 years old. She didn't have a lot of dating experience, but she knew what she wanted in a partner. She was just that kind of person that she knew what she wanted in life, and she had her career. She'd gone through school. She had the job she wanted. She just was missing that last little piece of the puzzle on her partner, and she knew what she wanted, or so she thought. On paper, the gentleman that she just married and is now her husband was pretty much the opposite of what she thought she wanted. He was previously married, which wasn't a deal breaker for her, but she preferred someone who was never married like herself. He didn't have kids, so that was okay. She had preferred somebody who had a college degree because she had her master's, and he didn't have one at the time. He had some community college, or maybe even like I can't remember the associate's degree, but he didn't have a bachelor's or a higher education. He does now because she encouraged him to do that. And so that was one of the things they talked about, is how she really helped him grow and advance his career that he was wanting to pursue. And he was also about 10 years older than her, which was a little bit more of an age difference than she was originally comfortable with. We had talked about like 5 years was probably the max that she was thinking she would want to do. So if they had just met, or if we had sent this, on paper, it would have been terrible. And she would have told me, absolutely not. This guy has 3 check marks against him. I'm not going to meet him. But they both happened to actually attend our annual Valentine's Day event. She had actually just kind of taken a break from dating because she had dated someone, it didn't work out, and she was just kind of getting back out there and was like, I've just come to this, it'll be fun, it'll be a good opportunity for me, a lot of different people, and just see, you're going to be exposed to things that you probably wouldn't normally say yes to. And that actually ended up being exactly what happened. She had originally said, I had to go back and dig up my old emails. And she was originally unsure about the age difference. And she thought she was a little bit too old for her. But she thought she was going to be open and, in the theme of getting experience, she wanted to just go on the date and see how it went. And that date turned into a second. And then after the third, I kind of had to talk her off the ledge a little bit because she almost didn't want to go out with them again because things had happened. They didn't quite click on that third date, which sometimes happens when you're getting to know each other. And we talked about all the different reasons why she felt this way. She talked about some of her preferences and the age difference again. And we ended our coaching session and she decided that, okay, I'm going to give it one more date and just see, because I think 4 dates is enough that, I'll have a better idea of if this is going to go anywhere or not. And obviously that was the date that won her over and, ended their love story where they are today, I suppose. Another one that's kind of similar, if you are on our email list, you know that every month Courtney sends out some of her favorite love stories from past clients. And the one that went out today was actually about my brother, who I introduced to his girlfriend. And I'll let Courtney share more about all the details on this one, but she did forget to mention something that kind of works in what I'm talking about here. And that is, at the time, my brother was a smoker, which was a deal breaker for his love, which it is for most people these days. However, because she really liked a lot of other things on the profile, and we talked about why he was a good match for her, she was going to be open to meeting him and giving it a shot. And 6 months into their relationship or so, he ended up quitting for her and for his health. But if she hadn't been open to something that, like, and that's a big one for people, is the smoking. But it's one of the things that I always tell people that, it's easy to change. People can quit smoking. And he did, and they're madly, wonderfully in love today. Lisa and I were talking too, and we kind of went through and made like a quick list of a couple of other couples who were kind of in the same boat. And, some of those are really interesting that, when you're thinking about this, they sound like really bigger things, to be honest. And then some of these things that kind of fade away and that aren't that big a deal when you actually are meeting the person that you're with. So there was one couple that she introduced where the woman was very adamant that their religion be something that they shared together, and it was really important to her. And she met a man who was non-religious at the time, and they are now married and they have a baby, and he goes to church with her. Even though he's not super religious, he loves her enough to just go with her and share that with her, and that's good for her. There was another woman that we worked with who she had originally told me that she really only had ever dated men outside of her own race, and that was her preference, but she ended up marrying someone who was the same race as her. There was one couple who recently got married that they were a little outside of the ideal distance that they both told us. They actually both said, like, I really prefer to date in my own city, but the cities themselves were like 90 minutes apart. So we just thought, well, let's see what happens, because you guys look like you could be a fantastic match. And it ended up working, and they bought a house in between the two cities so that neither one of them had to give up their careers that they both loved. So that was really fun. So I guess kind of where I'm going with all this, as a matchmaker, it's important for me to know the basics of what you want in a partner. We ask you so many questions about this when we're first getting started, but throughout the process, we kind of keep asking you more questions and want to keep knowing, because what I have found that after 10 years of doing this, the one thing I really know for certain, and working with thousands of singles, is that most people confuse their wants with their needs, and a lot of times they don't really actually know what they need in a relationship. And so we will see people all the time decline to meet someone. I mean, this probably happens every day, who's a great match for them. They would be really fantastic. They have a lot of potential to have chemistry, compatibility, all those things. But they decline them for something that's really not that big of a deal. Like, he's 5'9" and you prefer someone who's 5'10", or she's 36 and you think that you need to date someone under 34 because you want to have babies. As a matchmaker, this is probably the most frustrating part of our job, is to be kind of sitting back with our bird's eye view and saying, like, this person and this person would be such a good fit for each other, but they just said no. So we do sometimes encourage people to say yes. People don't always like it when we do that and give them that little extra nudge, but a lot of times it ends up paying off for those people and leading them to the right relationship that they were looking for. People always ask me, like, what's the thing that I can do to really ensure my success when I'm getting started with your service? And the number one thing I kind of tell people is that the more open you are and the more willing to kind of trust us and let go of control and let us do our magic that we are here to do, you're going to be the one who's going to find success. I mean, the people who are really rigid in their wants and needs, and they aren't willing to kind of step outside of what they think that they're looking for, they're the ones who end up being frustrated themselves and not finding their partner at the end of this. So I guess if you're single, if you're a client and you're still searching, or maybe you're just single in general, it might be a good time for you to kind of go through your list and maybe reevaluate and see, like, what does it need and what does it want? Like, what can I live without in a partner? And what is something that I do absolutely need? And is this, you know, in the case of some of these things, is this something that's maybe flexible for me? Because the more flexible and open you are, the more likely you are going to be open to finding love. So there's my thoughts for the day. And I will just end it by saying to the couple who got married this past weekend, if you happen to watch this and see this, I just want to thank you again for allowing me to be there for your special day. I know it was your day, but it was also very special for me to be there too. So thanks again. I'm Allison with Midwest Matchmaking. You can learn more about us at midwestmatchmaking.com by going to our website and signing up or just getting more information. And you can also message us here as well. Thanks.